Okay, time to get real. Even though it's kind of hard to express myself right now, except in tears and in disbelief, because I just got off the phone with my mom. She turned 64, and my dad, he's 68, and unfortunately, they they live in poverty. You know, they don't got that much. They barely make ends meet here in Texas. They live in the South. I don't want to say exactly where they live, but they live in the south of Texas. And she was telling me about her experience with her internet and cell phone company, which is Spectrum. And I really have a bone to pick with them because she, a few weeks back or a month ago, I can't remember exactly, she had went to complain that the internet wasn't functioning properly, and supposedly it was because the modem or the router was an old one and it probably needed to be replaced. But unfortunately, we're living in crazy times right now, where you have these companies who are training their employees to not really be considerate of the needs of their customers or even potential new customers, because what they should have also ensured was, does this lady, my mother, when she walked into the store and she was being attended by someone, oh, I don't know, somewhere around 25 or so, young woman, very ambitious to earn those commissions and those bonuses with every new customer or existing customer. She didn't think about that. She didn't even think about, there's this national program that is provided by the government to assist people with low income in order to pay for the internet. I am pretty sure that she knew about that, the Spectrum sales agents, but she really didn't give a fuck about it. She didn't even bother to perhaps ask my mom, if financially she and my dad can afford to pay internet. No, what she did was she not only replaced the old modem or router or whatever it was to my mom, which she failed to also be clear about the fact that it would cost even more money for this new modem, for this new router that my mom would be receiving. And she probably even tricked my mom in getting higher speed internet, which they really don't need because they rarely use the internet. They don't have a computer. They do have an old used secondhand tablet that my mom uses every now and then, and they do watch TV, but they're from a generation that just really doesn't need high-speed internet. Just basic internet will do. Thank you very much. But that bitch, and I'm going to call her a bitch because she was a bitch, that salesperson who sold these things to my mom, didn't think about that. Nah. 25 or whatever age she was. Why would you give a fuck? Why would you give a fuck about that when all you're thinking is sales, 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 fucking sales, 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 sales means money, money, money in your fucking damn pocket. So why would you think about this 64-year-old woman if she has the financial means to pay for faster, higher speed internet that she's not going to use? Why would you think that, right? So not only that, she didn't think about that. What she did think about was, hey, you know what? I'm going to trick this old lady, this old hag, into buying a phone. Because she definitely will want that. Wow. Whoever this girl was, man, I only wish that I had been there to have just shoved it in her face like, how fucking dare you? How fucking dare you? Smile and pretend like you give a fuck about my mom, about my mom's needs, but trick her into every single sales pitch. Because now my mom and my dad owe a huge sum of money, 200, far more than what was explained to my mother at that point, which I believe my mother's story because this same thing happened to me last year when I also tried to when I was also considering to become a Spectrum customer. So I know that my mom is not lying because they pulled the same shit to me. Tried. The bitch tried. It was a young sales girl and the bitch tried to trick me. I didn't fall for it. Unfortunately, I was not there with my mom, and my mom just believed every single little word that this smiling bitch with this supposed respectful, kind tone was given to her, no doubt. She believed every word. And she was not aware of the hidden fees that the girl just made sure that my mom would not know once the final transaction, once everything was filled out. She made sure that my mom would not see it. When I tried to become a Spectrum customer, I saw the hidden fees, which were left towards the end of the sales pitch. And that bitch also tried and avoided putting any focus on that, thinking, well, she's not going to notice, so she's going to buy it. She's going to buy into the sales pitch. No, I didn't, but unfortunately my mother did. Of course she's going to fall for it. My mom is not as educated as I am. She comes from Mexico. She comes from a generation of Mexicans who have worked their asses off since they were children. My mother has been working, cleaning homes since she was 10 years old. So she didn't really have much of a youth to say. She didn't really spend much years in school because they couldn't afford it. Unfortunately, my grandparents, to have all their kids go to school or go to college or university or anything like that. No, unfortunately, my mother had to work. My father, just the same. They're from that generation. So unfortunately, they lack the means of knowing when they're getting scammed by the millennials who unfortunately are being money driven to the point where they have lost any sense of humanity. Because I'm sorry, if you're just going to be thinking about your commissions and your fucking bonuses, then you're not human. Whatever it is, whatever is in your body, you don't fucking have a soul, you don't give a fuck, is just about money, then you're not human. You're just like this fucked up alien in that body who doesn't give a shit about the elderly or about anyone who's coming to you for help. Like, hey, help me, I have this problem. When someone's asking you for help, you're supposed to help them, not take advantage of them. But if you are that person, well then fuck you. And normally I wouldn't curse people, but you know what? I am gonna curse you. Because you don't deserve to be happy if you're just gonna be thinking about becoming rich at the expense of an elderly woman who obviously can't afford all the shit that you're selling her. That you don't deserve my blessings? You didn't deserve me to recognize you as a human being? You deserve to be fucking cursed for the soulless, I don't know, fucked up alien that you are. You're not a human being. You're not a divine being. You're not nothing. And if you are a spectrum sales agent who is Christian and you're pulling off these scams to elderly or anyone for that matter, whatever age, whatever ethnic background, whatever race, whatever gender, then you're just as fucked up too. Because if you were to be a true Christian and a true follower of Jesus, which I myself am not religious, I was raised a Jehovah's Witness, but I left it since I was 17. I've made amends with God, but I have my own God. I respect those who are religious. I respect those that have their own gods. I respect everyone who has their own religion. But if you are supposedly a Christian or a Catholic or whatever, a Buddhist, whatever that you are, and you're pulling off scams on people, especially elderly, I'm sorry. Well, actually, sorry, not sorry. You're not human. You're just a fucked up alien who doesn't deserve to be loved, to be blessed, or anything. Because if you're going to seek blessings and wealth and prosperity at the expense of others, especially those that are barely making it in the world, who are barely surviving, who are having to wake up and fight for their lives every day, and you did not grow up in that life, you have no idea how hard it is. I grew up poor, so I know how hard it is. That's why I don't take advantage of people. But if you didn't grow up that way and you are just going to be taking advantage of people who are who have that life, who are doing their best to live a more abundant life, if you're taking advantage of them, then fuck you. Seriously, fuck you. May you be cursed. May you be infinitely cursed, because if that's all you're thinking about your sales pitch, about, ooh, commissions, ooh, bonuses, if that's all you're fucking think about, then fuck you. You're not a Christian. You're not a Catholic. You're nothing if you are doing this as well. Let that be clear. I hope I'm clear enough, because you know, my mother, she's a Jehovah's Witness, and she's a kind woman. She has her flaws. She's not perfect. I have my flaws. I'm not perfect. Come on, let's face it. We all have our imperfections. That's what's being human. But to know that this happened to her, it's heartbreaking. You know, I don't want to cry about it, because Spectrum doesn't deserve to see my tears. My mom heard me crying, and that's enough, because I feel her suffering at this time. You know, they're suffering right now. They're stressing right now, like, oh my God, how are we going to pay this $200? My dad, he gets paid under $10 an hour to work as a janitor at a furniture store, at the main offices of the furniture store. My mom can't work. She hasn't been able to work for years because of her disabilities. Physically, she just can't. And they do their best as, you know, the typical poor Mexicans that they are. And they're very humble people. They're very faithful and loyal to their God. And even though that is not my faith, even though that is not my religion, even though that is not my God, I still love them. I still love them despite everything that we've experienced all these years. You know, the love is still there, the respect is still there, and, you know, we're doing our best to have better lives than what we had in the past. But to see people like this young woman, sales agent from Spectrum, interfere with my parents' desire to live a happy life, a comfortable life, a peaceful life, and to age gracefully and honorably and with integrity. For these sales agents, whether it's Spectrum or AT&T, because AT&T has also pulled this shit, and let's face it, many mobile companies here in the United States, maybe even worldwide, I wouldn't be surprised. You know, for the elderly, not just my parents, but for the elderly in general, to be experiencing this. And I think to myself, what's going to happen to me when I'm their age? Next question. What's going to happen to you, the millennials, who are doing this right now in your 20s? What's going to happen to you when you become their age? And you have younger generations doing far worse, unhumane things to you in order to profit from you, to become far more richer than you were at 25. I think that's something that we really need to consider in this world, and that we need to change. We need to improve this. Because otherwise, then we're just not humans anymore. Then we've lost the sense of humanity completely. And what was the point of suffering worldwide due to COVID if we didn't learn anything from it? We didn't learn to become more human. I don't know, it just really pisses me off. Like, do we even deserve the many blessings that each and every God that exists gives to humanity? What's the point of being protected by these divine gods if we don't give a shit about each other? We don't give a shit about, the elderly who have gone through so many hardships to create a better world for us. Because let's face it, that girl who's a spectrum sales agent, she wouldn't have that good life. It weren't that for the older generations making so many sacrifices for her and for many millennials, or even myself, to have a better life. We are living a better life due to the fact that they worked their asses off when they were our age or far younger. We're having it very easy, and they have struggled for so many years, and it's about time that they no longer had to suffer and struggle and fight to live a happy and abundant and wealthy and healthy life. We shouldn't be profiting from them anymore. What we should be is thanking them, thanking those who have paved the way to ensure that we could live a very comfortable, rich, happy, and healthy life. We shouldn't be taking advantage of them. We shouldn't make them struggle. We shouldn't interfere in their possibility to finally get out of that poverty or whatever suffering and struggles that they have been going through for almost their entire lives. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling a bit ashamed right now for the way my generation is behaving towards the elderly people, and for the way that the millennials are behaving towards the elderly people. So on my behalf, I apologize to each and every elderly human being who has experienced the same experience that my mom went through with this company, Spectrum. And she is not the only one, because even at the time that she went to approach Spectrum with the problem of her router, there was already another elderly man complaining about the same thing that my mom is now going through and is also going to complain. As I told her, I urged her, you have to fight back. You're not gonna pay the bills that they're making you pay. They tricked you, they scammed you. You have every right to tell them, to stand up for yourself and tell them, how dare you scam me? I will not put up with this shit. Every elderly person who is genuinely being a victim of such things should stand up for themselves. You finally really have to. You have to speak up for yourself, because otherwise they're just gonna keep making you suffer. They're gonna keep you having to drown while they rise above you. And this video, I'm making it with that intention. I hope that anyone who's watching this encourages others, especially the elderly people, to stand up for yourselves. You have to fight for yourselves, whether you are in a home and there is a nurse who is abusing you simply because they think they can, simply because they think they can intimidate you for being an elderly person. Stand up for yourself. Wherever you are, if you are being scammed for being an elderly person, for being so nice. And they are taking advantage of that. Stand up for yourself. Get yourself lawyers. Do anything that you can. Make some noise. The world needs to hear the voices of the elderly people that are being taken advantage of. That are being taken advantage of. Soulless human beings that are pretending to be human beings, and they're not. They're just some fucked up alien race who only gives a shit about money and probably also just sex and alcohol and I don't know what other fuck. I'm not against alcohol. I'm not against about sex. Don't get me wrong. I love sex. Hey, alcohol is not my poison. I prefer psychedelics, to be honest. I prefer the sacred plant, which is Mary Jane. I prefer plant medicine, by all means. Alcohol, but hey, if that's your thing, that's fine. But if that's all you are focusing on while you're here living the experience of life on Earth, then fuck off, because you don't deserve to be here on Earth. If that's all you're going to be doing, you're not a human being. You don't deserve to be here on Earth. Fuck off. Go on your alien spaceship and leave this planet for good, because it's your kind, who is fucking up humanity. Your kind, who is fucking up the peace and harmony of this planet. If you're just gonna think about money, then fuck off. Go to another planet. Go anywhere else. Go back to where you came from and leave planet Earth alone in peace for good. Because Earth was created for something far greater than that. Human beings were created for something far greater than that. This entire planet was just created for something far more divine than that. So once again, this video is for the elderly. Please stand up. Please rise. Please speak up. Stand together. If there should be another movement, it should be the movement of the elderly to stand up and let the world hear you. Because you have made so many sacrifices for all of these younger generations, and you deserve to be acknowledged for it. You deserve to rise. If you are still suffering in poverty, if you're suffering in illness, and no one's giving a shit about you, if you are an elderly person who is homeless and nobody's giving a shit about you, even though you made so many sacrifices to the younger generations, you need to rise. You need to be seen and to be heard and to be acknowledged, and most importantly, to be appreciated. To be appreciated for the divine infinite being of God source energy that you truly are, and not some elderly person who is suffering in your home all alone, or as a homeless person out in the streets, whether it's in the hot streets of Texas or somewhere in the northern states where it's already getting cold. That's not an honorable life for you, and I'm sorry, that is not the way of aging gracefully, and you do not deserve that. You deserve far better than what we humans have allowed you to live. Younger generations have allowed you to live. So this video is for you, all of you. That's my message. And I think I'm going to be doing far more messages like this, because the world needs to hear it. We need a voice, and if that voice is gonna be me, then so be it. So be it. So this is Queen Ashitara signing off.